All right, guys, this is Anupam, and I'm back with how do we connect SAP to our different systems. So today we'll talk about how do we connect our SAP, including model data, that is reports, queries, etc., onto Microsoft Fabric. Why Microsoft Fabric? That's the new platform from Microsoft, which is coming up, and it includes not only your traditional cloud data lake and tables functionality, but also your Power BI, and has a ton of exciting AI-based features, including Copilot. So that's going to be an important topic, and today we'll focus on how do we connect your SAP system to Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. All right, let's get going. I'll share my screen. Let's start off with our favorite transaction RM07 docs, or rather that's the report name, and the key code is MB51. If I execute this, I am executing it within an ECC system, and if I use a variant to execute this, I'll use variant USB for SAP1 and execute. So based on the parameters given, SAP gives certain rows and columns. Let's see if we can get the same data onto our Fabric system so that users are able to use it directly. All right, I'll now switch over to Microsoft Fabric. So this is probably familiar to you. This is your Fabric data flows, which would be accessible via browser. Essentially, what you are going to focus on is a data pipeline which has been created, and this is available for you to download and use. If you click on this pipeline, it's pretty straightforward. It looks very familiar because essentially I think Microsoft is provisioning Azure data flows embedded within the Fabric ecosystem. So let's see, what we are doing here. Inside this, you will see some of the details. First, let's take a look at the destination. Essentially, it is writing data onto an Azure data lake. It has to be a ADLS generation 2 where the data will be written. I think the Microsoft is mandating that it has to be ADLS. And there's a few file options. Right now I'm going to do delimited text so that we can demo, but Microsoft again wants everyone to start using Parquet more. Okay, that's the destination. Now from the source side, that's your SAP system. And let's increase this. So essentially this SAP system, we are doing a post to SAP. And there's a few parameters through which we are getting our data. So, regular is what is a delimiter, the object type is R, which is for reports. And remember, we were running the report RM07 docs. So that's the report name which you will configure. Obviously, if you wanted some other report or object, accordingly, we'll change these parameters. The RM07 docs is an ALV style report. So that's what we'll use. And then we want business field labels, not technical field names, although that's an option if you wanted to get the technical field names. And the variant, if you remember, was USB for SAP1, and that's what we are configuring. Now, this is one parameter you might want to take a look at. We are connecting SAP to Azure Data Lake. So that's the destination for Azure Data Lake. And we are using SAS-based security and generating our data in this particular folder. So if I go to my ADLS, in this particular folder is where the data is being generated from PBIDF, right? So let's take a look at what happens when we run this. Essentially, if you see, it has succeeded, and it goes and generates the output onto my data lake. Um, there are some logs written. If you wanted to, go into those logs, you can see what has happened. And when I open my data lake, I see upon refresh that it has generated a file here. And this particular file is more than 15 KB. So this is something which we need to download and open. So I have downloaded this file, SAP data rm07 docs.csv. I can open it with my Excel. And here's the file, which is basically your MB51 data extracted onto your ADLS. So what did we do? We extracted a report which your business users would be very familiar with from SAP on Fabric data flow, and put it on ADLS generation 2, so that the future runs of Power BI service or even your AI jobs can leverage on this data. Quickly, let's see how we can schedule this. So when you are within the data flow for the within Fabric, you can go ahead and set it up on a schedule. Let's say you want this daily, or maybe hourly, every 2 hours, and you can set up a start date and also set up maybe an end date if you wanted to, and go ahead and apply. Based on this, it will start refreshing data from SAP and putting it on your data lake. All right, this is what I wanted to show about creating your data lake with model data from SAP. Thank you.